I do have just a brief opening few words to try and set the day up for us. Because I saw in the flyer that I have, I think, 15 minutes, and so you can't ever ask a politician to not take advantage of a microphone when it's sitting right here. So, and I am more, it scares me when I say I'm a politician. That is not what I have ever aspired to be, but in this particular instance, it's been a good thing, I think, for me and for the community. But let me get back to the basics here, knowing that some of you know me very well, so this will be repeat knowledge for a lot of you, and some of you don't know me at all. So the reason I'm in this conference, I think, is mostly because of my pretty new background in farming. I'm a native of this town. I was born and raised in Lawrence. I left for a while and then came back to raise my family alongside my husband, Scott. Our family days started out in the city of Lawrence, but after a few years living on the 7th tee of the Albemarle Golf Course on the west side of town, and without a single agricultural bone in our body, we took a crazy leap of faith and moved to a 135-year-old farmstead in rural Grant Township, north of Lawrence. That move was supposed to represent for us a retreat from city life, purposely positioning ourselves to relax in a lovely sanctuary-type country setting. And what was supposed to be a country home surrounded by about 100 acres of what we thought were low-maintenance meadows and woodlands turned into a hobby farm after a few years. And after a few years more, we now find ourselves in full-fledged small family farm mode, with the emphasis on the word small, for sure. But looking at our farm as a hobby now is an idea long gone. We are growing both by the measure of our productive land, but also by the measure of our productive spirit. It's a weird and wonderful agricultural spirit that has overtaken us and keeps us saying, despite all reason, we want to keep growing. Suffice it to say, I used to be one of the heads of my household, and now I am my oldest son's part-time farm employee. I am the lowest rung on a very short ladder for Juniper Hill Farms, Inc. The farm is managed by our son Scotty, who is halfway through his agricultural degree program at Iowa State. So he manages us from a distance, which means he gets to talk and we get to work. But it all works out in the end. We are a farm that sells lots of organically produced round bales and square bales of hay. We sell both locally and across several states. More than that, we now sell organically grown vegetables to 4 of the local grocery stores, and when the markets are open, we sell at kind of an upstart young farmers market that meets behind Cotton's Hardware every Thursday afternoon. In other words, these days, although the flyer and Simran identify me as a Douglas County Commissioner and a Presbyterian pastor, I'm really, these days, also something of a farmer, a tired but hopeful farmer who admittedly is better suited to work with words than weeds, but nonetheless a farmer planted deeply in the middle of a growing and wonderful sustainable agricultural movement that is all about food at its heart, but it is about so much more. I look forward to hearing all the presentations that follow today, because even just a brief glance at the program for sowing and reaping shows just how profound the topic of food really is. It is, in fact, an alpha and omega deal for us. It's the beginning and the end of who we are, how we frame our lives on this earth for ourselves and for each other. It's about how we grow, both literally and figuratively, who we feed and who we leave hungry, and in the end, what kind of a profound harvest we have waiting for us. If the old saying is true, that we reap what we sow, then it's not only a good thing, but a necessary thing, that we all take a look at the part we play in food and agriculture, which is precisely what we're going to do today. We have the luxury today of setting aside our usual chores to take a long, hard look at soil and seed, consumption and conservation, monoculture and money, faith and farming. And in taking that long, hard look lies also an invitation to take a look at ourselves in relationship to God, who, the psalmist tells us, remembers how we are made. God remembers how we are made, and God knows that we are framed by dust. And still God calls us good. That's in Psalm 103, if you want to source check me. So you see, there isn't any way around it. We are inextricably linked with the soil underneath our feet. It is part of who we are, sustaining us and inspiring us. It challenges us and tires us, but it leaves us every year with more hopeful for the next year. Because we see with our own eyes every new season for all sorts of fabulous rhyme and reason that seeds get sown and food is ultimately grown. And by that simple act of faith, planting seeds, some of which are so small, literally, you can barely see them, we and others are fed, body and soul. So I go back to the original statement that farming is hard and hopeful work. And yes, it is. But at its best, it is sacred work. Not so much a dust-to-dust thing, I think, but more of a dirt-to-dirt thing, if I can take a little editorial license in the Psalms. I will always be grateful for that very crazy day on a Sunday when we decided to buy the farm out in the country, when we stepped it up later on from a country home to a hobby farm, and more recently to a small production farm. From playing at food to working on food, praying about food and lobbying and legislating for food, celebrating food and even eating food with an appetite for what goes on way beyond what's sitting on the plate. I know many of you are in the same place or you wouldn't be here, and you are equally grateful for where you've landed in the sowing and reaping continuum. So I know you're also looking forward to moving on to the topic at hand, and we will, I promise. We'll get to the blessing. But with all that said, I want to say one more thing, and that is that we owe Simran a great debt of gratitude for acting on an idea, which could have just stayed an idea, but has become a conference, an important one, I think. Her own appetite for building community by way of building communication is a blessing in this community. And this forum is a lovely dish served up on you. We thank you. So I'm taking off my farmer's hat for a moment and putting on my county commissioner hat now to let you know that in your own community, this movement of sustainable agriculture is really, it has taken hold, and not just in individual farming lives out there, but in your actual local government policies, in your comprehensive plan, which sets out the vision for this community's future, where some of your tax dollars are going to support programs that support agriculture, and in the visioning for the food system in our very own community and in our region. We have a Douglas County Food Policy Council now, which is doing outstanding work. We had a 3-county food system report, which identifies for us where our food insecure neighborhoods are, and we're working on that issue. We have a common ground program where public lands are converted into farming plots for young farmers who otherwise who want to farm but can't afford to buy land. In our comprehensive plan, we now have several chapters that include dedication to the important work of institutionalizing, making firm and non-transferable the idea that we value our local food system, and we're going to keep that as part of our future. And we even have a Heritage Conservation Council that has a program that we can help set aside our most prime soils when the farmers are willing to do that. And that's an unusual program and very important. And last but not least, just a few days ago, we managed to win a 5-year-long argument that says that the most prime soil in our community, the absolute best soil that God has ever given to this earth, thousands of acres of prime soil on the Kaw Valley River bottom, is not made for industrial warehouses. It's made for agriculture. And that happened Monday night. So with that, now, how about a blessing? If you would pray with me. Gracious God, we are grateful to be here on this beautiful day. We're grateful for yesterday's rain and grateful for today's haze and grateful for whatever sunshine there is in our future. We're grateful for all the people who took time off today to study our role on your earth. Help us to have ears to hear and hearts to move and spirits that are willing to think beyond our own four walls. We ask for your presence with us among us today. And we ask it all in your name. Amen.